So a lot of times you get a bunch of data and you're trying to figure out what to do with it, and this looks like a big mess, and this is not just only because of my poor handwriting, but it's also because there's just a lot of data. So there's two ways of organizing data. Well, that's not true. There's multiple ways of organizing data, but I'm going to show you two ways that are useful. The first is called a stem and leaf. And what I do is I take a look for my lowest score, and let's say in this case it's a 62, and I look for my highest score, and that looks like it's going to be in the 90s, and that's it. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to make a stem, and I'm going to use 6, 7, 8, and 9. These are all my stems. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, all right, I have a 62, I have an 88, I have an, oh, wait a second, that's not what I'm going to do. Excuse me. We're going to look for my 60s first. I have a 62, and I have a 67, so it's going to be 2 and then 7. Now for the 70s, I have a 77, a 76. I'm going to put little things right here. So 77 and 76. So I put the 6 first and then 7. And so that means 62, and that means 67, 76, 77. 80s are a little bit trickier because I have a whole bunch. So I'm going to look. I'm going to say 80s. I have an 81. I have an 82. Let's see, do I have any other 82s? No, but I do have, oh, look at this, I missed one. I have 78. I have two 84s. I have an 85. I have 1, 2, 3 85s. 1, 2, 3. I have an 87. I have an 88. I have an 89. And I believe that's it for the 80s. And then I'm going to do my 90s. I have a 90, 92, another 92. It looks like I have two 93s. You should do a key. 6 equals 62. And the key is useful just for making sure people know what that actually means. If I were to put in the 5 for the 50s, it's important that you don't put in a 0 because that would imply that there was 50, but I don't have anybody with 50. You just leave it blank, indicating that there were no scores in the 5. So that's the stem and leaf, and it's useful because it's really easy to find, once we've organized the data, it's really easy to find the median and the mode. Let's see, I can see right now that my mode is 85, the median was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. My mode is an 85 as well. And then if you want to find the mean, you could add them all up and divide by 20. This is good because it gives individual data, but the fact of the matter is, if these are exam scores, I'm not actually all that interested in exam scores. But what I would be interested in is who scored between a 60 and a 69. Who scored between a 70 and a 79? Who scored between an 80 and an 89? And who scored between a 90 and a 99? And these are my intervals. And the key with this is your intervals have to be evenly spaced, and they usually represent something. In this case, 60 to 69 is the D to C, the F to D range, but this is my C range, C minus to C plus. This is my B minus to B plus. This is my A minus to A plus. So I then do tally, and this is kind of nice. I hit 62, I cross it off. 88 goes in there. 93 goes in there. 77, 76, 92, 85, 84, 87, 84, get 4 and then one more, 5, 78, 82, 90, 89, 85, 67, 93, 92, 85, 81. And then you have your frequency. So it's 2, 3, 10, 5, and altogether it should be 20. You'll use a tally chart when you're making a histogram, but I'm not going to get into that. Symleaf gives you very exact values. But as a teacher, I'm more interested in seeing intervals. Individual values aren't necessarily important right now, whereas the intervals are. But sometimes you do want to see what the individual values are. So they both have their value, and you can even see something like this. Well, I know there's 20 scores, so 2, 3, that's 2 scores, 5 scores, and then 5 plus 10 is 15. So I know that my median is actually in here, and most of the scores are in that range. So you can actually do other things with this, and there is actually a way to get a idea of what the mean is, but I'm not going to get into that at this point in time. So I hope that's useful, and I hope that shines a little bit light on how to do the stem and leaf and the tally chart. I'm actually going to use this tally chart for a histogram video, which is coming up next.